Ciao! So in this video we're going to be making Biscotti, and this is for the Ultimate Cookies 23 collaboration hosted by CNC Farms, and there's a link in the description to all of the channels who are participating and a playlist with all of their recipes. Go check that out, there's some really amazing recipes in there, and we'll get into this recipe right after this.
You'll see my face in every place, but you can't catch me now.
So back to the Biscotti recipe, I have 2 batches out here. So there's twice the amount of ingredients I need, and this is because I'm going to be making 2 different kinds, and all of them will at the end be dipped in either white chocolate or dark chocolate, so I don't need that right now. But I have 2 cups of flour, and I got 2 more over here, 1 cup of sugar, some toppings. In one recipe I'm doing apricots and dried mangoes, and I'll chop that up in a bit, and in another I am doing cranberries. We also have a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. We also have 2 eggs, 4 tablespoons of room temperature butter, and vanilla. And I will also be using almond extract in the other one. I think the cranberries are going to have the almond extract, and the vanilla goes in the apricots. But to start, we're going to mix all of the dried ingredients together. And just so it's like evenly distributed throughout. And then once that's done, we can add the wet ingredients. We're going to use 2 eggs, half a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and 4 tablespoons of butter. That came out a little messier than I'd like. And then we're just gonna mix those up. And I might convert to a hand mixer in a minute, but I wanna make sure this actually gets incorporated. All right, so I added some water because it was a little too dry for my liking, and now I like the consistency of where it's at. So now that that's done, I'm gonna add the cranberries in. And I know I said I was gonna use almond extract for this recipe, but I couldn't find it, so I just decided to use the vanilla. And you're gonna want it to be fairly shapeable, so I might go add more flour. And this just helps it hold its form a little more, because before it was crumbly, so I added water, and now it's not firm enough. So you just have to kind of find that balance to where it looks shapeable, but it's also holding itself together. All right, so it has foil on it. It's just a baking sheet. And now we're going to take this and separate it in halves. So about half the dough. Might be easier with the spatula. And once it's on here, you can shape it into a loaf. And the flour helps keep it less sticky. And then we can line up the other loaf like here. And you have to leave a lot of room here because it'll expand as you bake. I think that looks good. So I'm gonna go get cleaned up, and then this one's ready. I'm gonna start with the other one. So what I'm doing now is I'm cutting up the dried mangoes, and you can just pretty much do anything as long as it's not too wet. So like I wouldn't put in bananas, but you could probably put that in the dough.
Maybe like dried bananas.
Dried bananas would work. But you can pretty much do whatever you want. And I made really good apricot ones last year, and I didn't do a video for it. So I was gonna do them this year, and I had like 3. I had 3 dried apricots, so those are in here. And we're just using some dried mangoes this year because why not? All right, so these are finished cutting, and in that time, the oven is finished preheating. So it took a while. And we're just gonna kind of try to mush them in. And I will bring you back once that's done, and we will start assembling the loaves. This one's coming out a lot easier, and I don't actually need to use much flour this time. So don't add water, even if it looks crumbly, just mush it with your hands. And just kind of make a loaf. You're wanting to keep them a good distance apart because they will widen a lot in the oven. So fun fact of the day, biscotti means twice baked, and that's because you bake it twice. This is the first time we're baking it, and this gets the dough going, and it'll expand and it'll look like a cooked loaf. And you can actually just eat it like that, but it won't harden and it won't be like that traditional biscotti texture. So which is why you bake it a second time, because that actually helps it harden and it gets crispy, and it won't fall apart when you dip it in coffee or other warm drinks, which is traditionally what you do with biscotti. You just dip it in coffee or hot cocoa or whatever you want. So that's why you bake it the second time, and so I'll bring you back when it's time to cut these. Okay, so I let these cook for about 25 minutes, and I took them out when they started looking golden brown, and then I went out and took care of the animals while they were cooling, and now they're cool enough to touch. They've kind of hardened up a little bit, and they look really good. But we're going to cut these into maybe 1/2-inch pieces. I'm gonna cut diagonally so they're longer. Just something like that. And then we're gonna cook them again because the inside is still kind of squishy, and that'll keep it firm. These are technically done if you wanted to eat them now. But, oops, they fall apart much easier if they're not baked another time. Okay, so I sliced them up and I put them on the baking tray, and these are going to be baked on 350 for another 5 minutes so that they have a chance to harden up a little bit. And I'll bring you back when that's done. Okay, so just got this out of the oven. It's been 5 minutes. They've kind of gotten dark a little bit, and they're still soft. You have to give it a bit for it to cool, and then by the time it cools, it'll be a lot harder. But while it's fairly soft, I'm gonna start melting these. Technically, you're already done. You don't have to do anything else with this, but I'm gonna start melting these so that we can dip the ends in them. Okay, so these guys are melted, and I'm not sure how well these are gonna work dipping because it's a really shallow bowl. So what I want to try is this. Alright, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. We make it almost every year and it's becoming a bit of a tradition. Thank you again to CNC Farms for hosting this collaboration. It was really fun to participate in. Don't forget to check the link in the description for the other cookie recipes. It's in a playlist, and there's some really cool recipes in there. I hope you check it out. And we hope to see you on our Monday Night Live. We are live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every week. And it'd be great to see you there. But that's all for this video. God bless.